because she started at age 5, 6, 7, and playing against these older men, and all of them wanted her to lose. And she just kept winning game after game after game.
Congratulations to you both. Judit, a lot of people are very excited for this. So let's start with Rory. I mean, obviously, your resume is entrenched in incredible nonfiction stories. What was it about Judit that you thought would be cinematic and impactful?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you for having us. Very happy to be here. I was approached by a producer friend who had access to this story, and I really didn't know anything about Judit Polgar. So I kind of did a deep dive in researching, and he had approached me and my husband, Mark Bailey, to see if we might be interested in making a documentary about her. And I was just kind of stunned by what I read, that she had been the #1 female chess player for 26 years, and that she was the youngest grandmaster, that she had beat Bobby Fischer's record. She's the only woman to have ever broken through the top 10 chess players in the world, and that is still the case today.
12-year-old Hungarian schoolgirl Judit Polgar has won a major international chess tournament and made history.
In the beginning, everybody underestimated me.
And I just was amazed that I hadn't heard of her story. You know, I'm not a chess player, but I had heard of Bobby Fischer and Garry Kasparov, and I just felt like I should know her story. And then I did a deeper dive into her background and learned about her growing up in Hungary and communist Hungary, and the opposition that the government had to her as a chess player because she was a woman. They tried to throw her father into prison because they were training her to be a chess player, and she was being homeschooled. They tried to throw him into a mental hospital. And then entering this chess world that was very male-dominated, and you know, seeing kind of and hearing firsthand people's response to you. Bobby Fischer saying, you know, women just can't play chess. I guess they're just not smart enough. So it was this kind of sensation and feeling of this woman walking into these rooms, or girl really, because she started at age 5, 6, 7, and playing against these older men, and all of them wanted her to lose. And she just kept winning game after game after game, year after year after year. And it was really just kind of a thrilling story to read, and I felt like it would be a thrilling documentary to make, and I was hooked.
Absolutely. I mean, Judit, what a life you've had so far, and you're barely halfway through it. Talk to me a little bit about, I understand that your father had a very specific philosophy that geniuses could be made and trained. So what was an average day like for you as a 5-year-old learning to play chess?
Well, both of my parents are teachers, actually, and my father, when he started to show me the first great evergreen games, very spectacular, as I hooked on chess very fast, especially that both of my older sisters played chess. And my father believes it's very clear that we are going to be homeschooled in order to spend more time on a specific field, which was chess in my family. And working hard and going in competitions and going back and sharpen your opening preparation, your understanding, your pattern recognition. And with time, if you do the proper job, results will come. And it showed that he was right.
Absolutely. So were you sort of like emotionally on board with this in the beginning? Did it excite you, or because like 5, 6, 7 years old, your friends are probably going to dance class, or?
Well, I think it was something very natural for me because of my sisters who play chess, and Susan is 7 years older than I am. She had already significant performances on chess events. For me, it was something I hooked on as a game very much, and as I started to win, my first tournament I won when I was 6 years old. I beat my father blindfolded already when I was 7. At 9, I won the first international competition in New York. So all this was so inspiring for me and giving me so much self-confidence. And you know, as a kid, you win, and people are just looking that, wow. I mean, obviously, I had a good feeling about it.
When you have someone as sort of pedigreed and immersed in the doc world as Rory, sort of retelling your story, does it recontextualize anything for you? Any memories, anything you felt about, like what is it like to look at your life in a 90 to 120 minute cut?
Well, first of all, it was very interesting when Rory reached out to me, as she really didn't know me. She didn't know chess really too much, and it was so refreshing to talk with someone who is very eager to learn more about my story. And at the same time, in chess environment, I was very famous and I had a lot of fans, and so it was extremely inspiring to see her thinking that this can be something very special as a documentary. And it was quite amazing to see for me the final cut and the final version of it, because obviously I was reliving those moments from a very young age. Like, I think the earliest cut is from age 6 or something, and some of my biggest, most memorable games are covered there. Also, some of the things I was not even aware of. And so it is very special, and I'm very grateful for Rory to make this excellent work and to show it to the world, and also for me to have it for the rest of my life.
You're welcome.
Waiting for your coffee table. So tell me, obviously the Queen's Gambit, forgive me, did you participate in that, or was that just heavily inspired by your life?
Well, actually, that was written in 1984,
Oh, wow.
so it could have been inspired by my sister, because she was already playing with man. I was only 8 years old at the time. But I'm happy that there is a fiction and there is a real story too.
Yes. Exactly. Rory, one of the things that I think is the heaviest lift in a film like this is, chess is still two people at a table moving pieces. So how do you make that cinematic and high stakes?
Yes, that was a challenge, in fact. But, part of it was Judith's personal story, which is kind of infused throughout the film, of course. And the way we structured it was really, Judith has, as we've talked about all of these accomplishments and, these benchmarks that she has sort of broken through. But I think for her, and in talking with her, and because she's a fierce competitor, is that you want to get in the ring with the very best, right? You want to be playing against Muhammad Ali. So a lot of kind of the way I structured the film was really about her competition with Garry Kasparov, who was somebody who she really admired from the age of 5 and would watch every game he played on the TV set, and then went on to have the opportunities to play him. And of course, in their first match together, something quite dramatic happens. And we were very, pleased to know that moment, there was a camera documenting it, but the camera people had left. But it turned out that the camera was still on. So we had this incredible footage of this. I don't want to give too much away, but it's a very dramatic moment in the film, and we were just kind of thrilled to find that footage. But I think that story and that conflict kind of creates a drive for the film of, she plays him over and over again. Can she beat him? Can she take him on? And, Garry Kasparov is known as not only the best chess player at the time, but in many circles, the best chess player ever, right? So for Judith to be able to play him and have this competition was kind of a driving force of the film. But then, as I learned more about chess and how it can just come down to one move and one strategic positioning and helping people to understand those stakes like I needed to understand them, and her style of play, which is incredibly aggressive, and kind of, as you've said, bloody, like she just goes for it. So helping, I needed to understand that and then translate that to audiences. We also, I think, used a fantastic kind of unexpected score for the film, which is kind of girl band punk rock that's combined with this more kind of waltzy, composed, beautiful music, and it's kind of this mashup, just like her life is, which is like a very traditional game, but then she's sort of, bursting through it. We used a lot of graphics as well. anyway, I think the film, people, my hope is the experience that I had, which is kind of being at the edge of your seat as you're trying to, is she going to win this game? Is she going to do this move? Is she going to beat Kasparov? What's going to happen next?
That's awesome. This is the last Park City Sundance. I know it's very emotional.
Sad.
And I think one of the great moments from the past 2 decades, especially, was when you came here in 2012 with Ethel, a film you'd made about your mother. So
Yes.
is that bringing up old memories? And tell us about that experience.
Yeah, no, it was, I'm very happy. I mean, it's quite thrilling to be here now, of course, with Queen of Chess, and this is my 10th film at Sundance, which is amazing. But looking back, I think about my memories here, certainly Ethel was one of the highlights. I remember, there's, as I'm sure you know, and everybody in this room knows, the struggle with tickets is always a challenge. Like, how do you get tickets to your screening? And so, they allocate 25 tickets, and I'm like, I have 75 family members coming. Can we revisit this number? So there was some negotiations that went on, but happily all my family was able to get into the screening, but none of them had seen the film before. And my mother had seen it on a very, just to kind of make sure it was factually correct, at her home on a small TV. So to see it in the theater with my family and with the audience, and to have her experience, I think, this just overwhelming appreciation and love for her was really a beautiful moment, and something that I cherish and will remember forever.
It's incredible. I don't think a plus 74 is that unreasonable, especially
thank you.
You're Rory Kennedy.
Thank you. I should have had you negotiate for me.
In that same arena, I just very quickly wanted to ask if that there is such a groundswell over the upcoming American Love Story with JFK Jr. and Carolyn Bessette. I'm not sure I'm sure it maybe doesn't surprise you, but do you intend to watch, and how's your feeling about that kind of story rising again as an American chapter in history?
Yeah, well, I haven't seen it, obviously, so I'm not sure that I'll watch it, but I was quite close to John, and continue to miss him every day, and it's been a great loss for our family and a great loss, I think, for the country, and he was so enormously contributory, and as was Carolyn, and so there are people who we just feel very close to and saddened by their loss, and I do think there are opportunities for younger people who may not have known their story to learn about them, and depending on how the film is done, I think it could also be a wonderful thing to help expose a younger generation to their character, their personality, their contribution to society, and really who they were as people. So
absolutely,
we will see.
Okay. I think it makes me feel old, actually, because these stories now seem archival, but it was very real to me as a kid growing
Yes.
up. But recontextualization is never a bad thing, especially if it's done with a lot of empathy.
Yes.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And speaking of empathy, I just wanted to let you know, everyone at Variety and also in our industry, we're so just moved and really behind you guys with the recent loss of Tatiana Schlossberg, and
Thank you.
her parting words were just incredible, and I think a really beautiful representation of what your family means, the grace and the poise you all have. So we're all just thinking about you.
Thank you.
And I think it's also especially heartened that still in the grand tradition of your family, left with the parting words about healthcare.
Yes. No, I know.
Access to
She was very brave and courageous, and I think that article in the New Yorker really reached so many hearts and minds and helped people understand who she was. It was, which is so beautiful for me, because she was such an extraordinary person, and obviously the loss there is just, she was 35 years old, and the world is a little less good without her around, but I appreciate, and our family so appreciates, the warmth and the understanding and the empathy and the outpouring. So thank you for saying that.
Absolutely. Do you hope that people sort of in charge in terms of healthcare and treatment take that advice to heart?
Yes, of course. I think, you know, there's really an urgency around what's happening with healthcare right now in our country, and I think there are a lot of, you know, doctors and scientists who are coming together, alerting us that what is happening right now is endangering the health of this country and honestly the health of people around the world. So I think that, you know, we really need to pay attention to the scientists and the doctors.
Ending on a lighter note, I hear you're going to play Alec Baldwin in a chess match blindfolded. Is that true?
Yeah. I'm preparing.
Yeah, I'm sure you can look at some past Baldwin footage and see what his aggressive combat style is.
Who are you betting on?
I think we all know who I'm betting on. Baldwin's a survivor, but I think you can do it like from Arizona blindfolded. We're here with Audible, and are you guys audio storyteller fans? Are you listening to anything, books, series?
Yes.
On audio?
Yeah.
What's the last thing you've read or heard?
Oh, now you're putting me on the spot. I tend to like to listen to like biographies on audiobooks. So I just listened to a biography by Goodwin on the Roosevelts.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's
in their times.
probably get you through like 5 flights with that one, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Rory, Judith, everybody, thank you.